Hi, Russell Mark here again from Go Shooting. In this week's video I want to talk to you about one of your shotgun stock's most common measurements, the length of pull. Now generally it's the first thing you notice when you mount a shotgun to your shoulder, and of course it determines where your head lies on the stock and of course where your eye is in relation to the centre of the barrel. As we've seen previously, the length of pull is the distance from the trigger to the butt of your stock. To be measured correctly, it should also be measured to the heel of your stock and to the toe. So what's the correct length of pull? It will vary from everyone depending on their height, their arm length, and more importantly, on your technique. Here is my stock. Now I'm 185 centimetres tall. My length of pull is 380 millimetres. This is my youngest son's stock. He's 150 centimetres tall. His length of pull is only 310 millimetres. So how do you determine the correct length of pull? Well, an old rule of thumb used to be you put the gun on your arm at 90 degrees, and if the trigger just touched past your last joint in your trigger finger, that was considered pretty right. It's a bit rough, but I guess it's a start. Another school of thought is that once you mount your gun, your eye should be no more than 2 inches behind your thumb.
Some of the world's best Olympic trap shooters are a good example of this. Here we have world record holder James Willett and dual World Cup and Commonwealth champion Letitia Scanlon, both adhering to that principle. Here we have the Olympic champion Vincent Hancock from the USA, and also from Spain, Alberto Fernandez, the Olympic trap world champion, both positioning their heads on the stock in what many consider the textbook position. But there's always exceptions. Here we have Matt Drake, arguably the best ever international skeet shooter, and also George Digweed, the undisputed greatest clay target shooter on earth, both joining their nose to their leading hand that's holding the stock.
And then there are those champions that seem to be able to get their eye closer to their barrel than anyone else.
This is Italy's Giovanni Pelliello, the most successful international trap shooter ever. He virtually puts his eye on top of his thumb, as does the United States Glenn Eller, in my opinion the best ever double trap shooter. Now, Eller's stock looks like it's miles too short for him, but in actual fact it's one of the longest stocks I have ever mounted. It's so long, in fact, that in the winter months when he stands it upright in the gun rack, it often has snow on top of it.
And just when you think there is a pattern developing, here's two champions that prove all of that wrong.
If you didn't know who this young lady was, you'd probably advise her to get a couple of inches cut off her stock when you see her head so far back on the comb. That is until you find out that it's Kimberly Road, 6 consecutive Olympic Games she's won a medal in. You might also say the same about Leo Harrison. He's got records in the ATA in the United States that will probably never be broken, but unconventional where he puts his head on the stock. It doesn't really matter, does it?
So, have I totally confused you yet? Well, don't be. There is no definitive answer. The right length of pull is the one that you can use under immense pressure. As you've seen from all these champions, they've all got different body shapes and different techniques, but they've all got a length of pull that works for them. The only definitive thing I'll say is that shorter people need shorter stocks, and that's about where it ends. What you need to do is test your gun on the pattern board. Make sure it shoots straight for both the first and the second shots. We'll go through a procedure how to test that in a future video. We hope today's little tutorial helps. As always, we look forward to seeing you at the range real soon.